Hello everyone. Thank you so much for waiting. All right, so we can start with Azure. Okay. Same like AWS, Microsoft also has its own certification path. AZ-104 is Administrator Associate level certification, and then AZ-500 is a Security Engineer Associate um, certification. Both of these certifications will require a good hands-on or maybe good knowledge on the IT infrastructure, as well as knowledge about storage, and also data centers. I mean, if you just go through some of the previous Azure certifications, or maybe there is a professional level fundamental level certifications. So that fundamental certification is free again, as like AWS. And then we can jump to the associate level, and in the expert level we have a security level certifications. So the same way, what is Microsoft Azure? The same, I mean, if any of you are joining newly to the Azure class, so let me explain. So, just like AWS, the Azure also has many of its regions are located all over the globe, providing a similar services, right? But Microsoft Azure is very much knee on the authentication, like Office 365 pack, and as well as Active Directory. Because of these two topics, and also there is a concept called Microsoft Entra ID, Enterprise Identification. I'll talk about that later. Those are a little bit higher or more technical terms. I'll talk about that later. So let's start with what is Microsoft Azure? It's a cloud platform which offers infrastructure as a service, software as a service, right? And also they have 200 services, include computing, storage, AI, and security. And also in the Microsoft Azure, the major part of in AZ-104 is about identity, and the recently identity and the network traffic management, virtual network, and as well as recently the AZ-104, they have added new to the syllabus as monitoring. So it is also important to know how the monitoring that you need to do on the Azure, what all the skills that you need, and if you are running any of the applications or the servers or any of the virtual machines, how you can monitor those logs. That is all about AZ-104. And this is a certification overview. So AZ-104 is Administrator Associate, Microsoft Azure Administrator Associate, and AZ-500 is Microsoft Azure Security Engineer Associate. So in administrator level, what you learn is trying to build virtual machines, applications, how to give them a route, how to make them uh, load balancing, and what are the storage services, right? And in the AZ-500, what you will learn is how to provide a security to them, right? So how to provide, for example, the Azure Active Directory or the Intra ID, how to provide a security to those services. So that's what you learn in the AZ-500. So this is for the difference. So if you understand AZ-104, or if you learn that perfectly, then it's very easy to go with the AZ-500. So that's all about the certification overview. Okay. And the role description is nothing but so the role description is um, once you have AZ 104 in the syllabus, if you take a look, so you will learn implement and manage storage, deploy and manage virtual machines, configure virtual networking, and then monitor and backup Azure resources. So in AWS we call them instances, in Azure we call them virtual machines, right? So in um uh, I mean, same thing about the storage as well. The storage is same over there, here also storage. And virtual network concept we call there as VPC, here it is virtual networking. And then there it is security groups, here it is NSGs. So little terms here and there, just not to get confused much, but very easy to understand both of the cloud platforms. Okay. And then this is exam information, the certification information that you can check here. Yeah. So in the fundamentals, it is AZ 900, the same as AWS. So once you finish the fundamentals, you can go for Azure as administrator level. So in the Azure administrator level, we learn identity, governance and compliance, and then Azure administration, virtual network, traffic management, storage. So there are different modules that we will be going to discuss further in the uh, Azure Administrator 104. And in the Azure security, that we will see. So these are the some of the modules that we can have a look on. What are the skills that we need for the uh, or what are the modules that they have for the Azure 104. So if you are like a person targeting for the certification or just for the knowledge person, most of the organizations are looking for AZ 104 administrator level, because um, m- half of the work will be done if you are pro in these concepts, right? So these are the some of the modules that we are touching upon and also will be discussing in our course. Okay. And then why Active Directory, Azure Active Directory is very important. Um, if you know the on-premises Active Directory, the same way everything is managed on the cloud. You don't need to have a separate server for the Active Directory, managing authentication, authorizations, all these things. Also, from this, you can also give the access to Office 365 access. Once, what you will do once the user is onboarded to your company, you will onboard them to Microsoft Azure, and you will group them whether he belongs to financial service or maybe IT department or admin department, and based on authentication, so you can give access to some of the applications like Office 365, or maybe your internal, if he is a developer, maybe you have to give access to your application servers, web servers that they are trying to work on. So cloud-based suite of identity management, which has the capabilities and that enables you to securely manage access to Azure services and resources for your users. So this is again one of the important role in the Azure cloud that we are going to learn. So we will do a lab sessions on this. So Azure AZ 500 role is again it protect identity and access and secure, and it also helps in we have to learn how to protect data, applications, and as well as network, and manage security operations and responses. So if you, again, the first level is AZ104. Once you done with that, we can go with AZ500 to provide a protection, provide a security for all those services and features that we learned on AZ104. So this is the exam information. So if you're trying to target exam, certification, so it's 120 minutes, multiple choice question. So and I think it's nearly about $120, I think nowadays. So that's about the certification. So once you finish the Azure certification, so you can always work as a cloud admin, system engineer, IT operation, and AZ500 security engineer, SOC analyst, and cloud security architecture. So as you understand, 104 is all about the administration, and 500 is all about the security. So let me know if you guys have any questions.
Sir, if you want offline lab facilities, can you arrange, sir?
Like what
Uh,
exactly offline labs means?
no, if you want any offline lab facilities.
So I will explain you how to run labs or how to host a labs. I'll give you instructions. You can build your own lab uh, from your account. So you will have a 12 months of free tier um, uh, labs that it will be free for you. So offline means like I mean online I understand that it's like internet based or something. Offline means I didn't get that. Yeah, yeah. So like without internet we can't access the labs or offline. I mean if you can just um let us know what is offline mean by you want to access without internet or what it is.
No, in so if I join your courses, accessories all are free, right? It's like if I do the apps and everything, so you only provide the
Yeah, yeah. I
free.
mean, it is free. Once the class is done, you can always access in your own lab setup. But you need an
Okay.
internet access for that. Yeah.
After completing this course, hi madam, after completing this course,
Okay.
we can able to migrate the on-premises server to the cloud.
So the migration part is whole different story. We need to go through a certain precautions or set of preferred um lists, or maybe we need to there is a checklist for the migration, right? So it's just that it's not, I mean, migration is easy, but behind the scenes, if you lose some of the data from your on premises while you migrating, that can cause a problem. So what people will do is they'll always take a backup, have there is a downtime when you're migrating, so they will have to take a maintenance window for that, and then plan for a migration. It depends what, I mean, whether you will learn migration here or not. I would not say uh, we are covering that in a lab, because you may be migrating from your Windows to AWS, or maybe if some of your Splunk servers on the cloud. I mean, it depends. Yeah, once you're able to understand the cloud concept, so you'll be able to relate the migration step as well, and then accordingly you can take action in your company.
Yeah, yeah. Because I want to migrate from on-premises to cloud. So that
Mm-hmm.
what I'm telling you, can I able to manage that one after
Yes.
completing this course?
Yeah, definitely.
Hmm. We need to get little bit idea also. Then after
Yes.
that, on real time, that is different. Okay, but
Yeah.
we able to get the knowledge, no?
Yes, of course,
We,
definitely.
yeah,
So
yeah,
what migration is, it's nothing but you are just moving your resources from on-premises to cloud. So you know the concepts on the on-premises. What you need to learn is concepts on cloud network, right? So that's what we will be studying now. If you're able to understand those concepts, then easily you will be able to migrate your databases or maybe servers to the cloud.
yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. So there is a question.
हेलो दोस्त, मैं जरा इधर पे हूँ.
Sorry. Okay. So their question, will you cover both AZ104 and AZ500? Yeah, I will cover both AZ104 and 500, but we will be concentrating more on AZ104. If AZ500, I will be picking some of the very important topics. Maybe that is very much related in the AZ104. So we will be covering that. If time permits, I will be covering all the concepts in the AZ500 also. And there is next question. What is a preferred certification by the industries among these two? So the preferred one, it's not like preferred, it's based on um, what is your requirement, what is the requirement of the company. So based on that, they will decide whether they want to go for AWS or Azure. Some of the AWS is little bit costlier. The cost is more for one instance. Just for example, if they're charging $10 in AWS, then on Azure it is little lesser than that. So yeah, so the cost wise, it is more economic Azure, but the robust or the more uh, stand sorry yeah, the more robust is AWS again. Yes, Sayed, do you have any questions? Okay, so how long it will take to complete the course? So this is also again a 45 days class. Um, and then whether it's weekend or weekdays, so we'll be connecting with the course coordinator for this. I have a machine hosted already on the Azure, so I'll just give you a little answer. This is the Azure dashboard, which looks like this. So as I said, the AWS looks little fancier and it's like more visually representable. The Azure is little older, but the features is again same. It's as compared to features and other things, it is very similar. So this is Azure dashboard, and here, as like AWS, you can see all the services that they have. You can make them some of them as favorites over here, and this is a dashboard. Okay, so there we call it as instances. Here we call it as virtual machines, right? So I will go to home. So you can see these are the some type of Azure services. Virtual machines. Subscription is nothing but your license. So based on what subscription you have, you will be able to host a device. Or you will be able to create a virtual machine on the Azure, okay? And then there are AI Foundry, Kubernetes services, app services, storage accounts. So these are virtual networks, SQL database. So these are the different all the services that Azure has. It's maybe some of the features plus or minus from Azure to AWS. So that's all. I'll tell you a few of the things. So in the virtual machine, okay. So this is my current as there it was, I was saying there it was a instance. Here it is a virtual machine. Similar concept, no difference. Okay. And the next thing is this virtual machine. If you click on the virtual machine, you will get to know the details. Okay. So this is a one of the VM, which is in there we have added Windows OS, right? Windows Server OS. Here I am running Palo Alto image. If you load a Palo Alto image, then you will have a Palo Alto firewall. If you load a Windows image, you will have a Windows server with you. If you load any Fortinet firewalls, you will have a Fortinet image or a server with you, right? The similar way. So there also we get a public IP. Here also the public IP is assigned to access this firewall externally. Okay. And next thing, uh, so let's imagine this is not a firewall, this is just a Windows machine, okay? So this is an internal IP as just like our system, we get one of the internal IP, right? Private IP. So this is a private IP which has been assigned, and this is a public IP which got assigned. So this will be assigning based on the interfaces, okay? Next, go to the size. So whenever you are buying a laptop, you'll see the RAM, right? What is so here I have assigned 8 GB RAM for this device and 2 CPUs. And this is a standard size. If you select this um, D2SV3, you will by default you will get these two. For example, in your laptop, if you see Intel Core i5, then you will have say 12 cores, right? 12 cores, 16 GB RAM. And in i5 also you can get 12 cores, 32 GB RAM. So the same way, virtual CPUs are nothing but the cores. Okay. And then what is the image type, the source image? What is the image we have? So the source image is VM series Flex. So this is provided by the Palo Alto networks. So if you load a Windows firewall, then it will be here, the source image publisher will be Microsoft, and the image is Windows. And if you have a Linux, the similar way it will change. Okay. And okay, other things, I just kept it as default. Okay, so if I want to start this virtual machine, so I'll just start and connect. Not connect. Okay, I'll just restart this. I think it is currently running. So I'll just restart. So once you restart the system, you will see a restarting virtual. This is a notification bar. You will see whatever the actions that you do, it keeps on giving you notifications. So it is currently running, right? So once it is started, so we can access the device. So if suppose you are not sure whether the device is booting up or not, so what you can do, you can connect to the serial console. Do you understand the term serial console? Anyone? What is serial console or console connection?
Yes, the method we connect the router or switches to configure them.
Yeah, right. So direct connection, right? So if we have before we configure the firewall or before we configure a router, we connect a console cable to our laptop so that we do initial configuration and we put it on a rack, or maybe we put it in any of the network that we need. So this is a console connection. So I'm not sure whether what exactly it is going on with the firewall, whether it is booting or what the scene is, right? So I'll just connect this to the console. This option you have here in the Azure. The same thing when you host a Windows device or Windows system, the same you can come here and connect to the serial console. You can check whether the device is rebooting or what exactly it is going on. So this, I mean, if the device is not connecting or not giving you public IP, then this is a troubleshooting section. You can come and re-verify your connection. Okay. This is an overview and this is a network settings. Okay. So as I told, I mean, the firewall will have um, interfaces, right? To connect from your router to firewall, firewall to internet. The same way, the virtual firewalls will also have interfaces, but virtually, not physically, but virtual interface. How those virtual interfaces are divided. So you can attach an interface here, but to attach the interface, you need to shut down the device and then only you will have an option to attach and detach the interface. It's just like plug in and plug out, like you plug in a cable to your router or a switch or maybe a PC and then you plug out the device. So the same way, attach and detach interface. And then, so this is one of the interface that it is configured, and then you can assign an IP address to that. The same way for the Windows as well, you will have this particular IP address, right? This is a wireless LAN adapter. The same thing. This consider as a LAN cable, which is directly connected to a firewall. So I have a private IP as 10.0.0.4 and the public IP is this. So through the public IP, I can access this device anywhere from the internet. Okay. And this is about the network settings, the same network settings, creating a virtual machine that you can have, and the disk images. So whenever you are getting a laptop, you will see what is the storage for that, right? So these are all the storage informations that this device has. It's 60 GB RAM and what is the VM architecture, what is the availability zone. So these all standard informations that we can see. And snapshot is nothing but taking or mimicking the device. So if you're going to make a change or do an experiment or maybe running a malware on any of your device, if you run a malware, it will change pretty much a few settings in your device. So before it change, you take a snapshot of that so that you can recover that device. Sorry. So this is all about VMware. This is all about the virtual interface, virtual networks. Yeah. If you click on create virtual machine, here is the create button. Create Azure virtual machine, and if you click it here, you will get the option. Okay, so what subscription you have. If you have a subscription, then only you will get some free tier options. So currently I have a resource group. So resource group is nothing but what type of policies that you want to apply, what are the rules that you want to apply. So every virtual machine will have a resource group assigned to it. Okay, and the virtual machine name that you will give here. Okay. Same. In the AWS also we had regions, right? So here also Azure also has its own regions all over the globe. So you can choose whichever the nearest it is, or whichever it is giving us a free tier one. Okay. So here is the image option. There also we choose some image, right? So here also we can choose the image that we want. If I want to choose Windows Server 19 data center. Okay. So it says the availability, this is not available in zone 1. Zone 2 is supported. So these options we will get because of we are again running some free subscriptions. So what I need to do, go back here and choose zone 2. Okay. And then provide a username and password for this. Maybe I'll give admin, then password. So if you want, you can allow a selected ports. Okay. If you want, you can allow a selected ports, or you can keep it as none. So how you want to access this device? You can access this device through RDP, SSH, HTTPS. So based on that. So once this virtual machine, this Windows machine is hosted, you get a public IP. Through that public IP, you can access that on the browser. So to access on the browser, you need a HTTPS service for that. So that's the reason you need to allow that. Okay. And next is click next. This is a disk information that we need to select. Disk is nothing but the storage information, right? So, um, uh, these are the basic one or the default one that it has. So image default is 127 GB. If I choose other one, some images are by default smaller than the selected disk image. So I'll keep it as the default one. And the next one is networking. So virtual network. So what is virtual network? As I told, as I was explaining on the AWS, for the system, if you want to host, it needs an IP address for that, right? It needs a Wi-Fi connectivity so that it can talk to internet. So the same way, if you connect this virtual network to your predefined networks. Suppose, let's say admins have some of the network, financial department has some of the network. So you can choose that virtual network here to assign that device in a particular domain and the subnet. So this is a default subnet. Whether you want to keep a Windows IP, public Windows IP, and NIC card, network interface card, okay, this is a security group. And this is an inbound ports, how you want to allow. Okay. Load balancing, as we don't require a load balancing as of now, I'll keeping it as none. Click on the management and then Microsoft Defender for the cloud. So you want to enable your subscription is protected by Foundational Cloud Security Posture Management Free Plan. So this is Microsoft Defender option that I get, and the Microsoft Entra ID. This is what I was talking about before. So Entra ID is nothing but this is a very good feature in the Azure, which is Microsoft Enterprise Identification. Whenever the user is onboarding to Azure network, he will have to go through the identification, the authorization and authentication methods. So that we can configure through the Entra ID. Even suppose, let's say the developers will come with some of the applications, right? Some of the they are building some application, mobile applications, or maybe web applications. So those applications, you need to onboard it to the Entra ID so that it will get some security for those applications. So this is some of the auto shutdown feature, backup feature. So that those features you can enable. And under the monitoring, you can click on enable recommended alert rules, so that whenever the CPU percentage is reaching 80%, you will get an alert. So your web applications may not crash in this scenario. Okay. And some of the advanced features that we will see in our regular class, and then tags, whatever the name that you want to identify this device with. And next, okay, something is missing here. So it says validation failed for the following tab. So you can go back here and then, yeah, I just clicked this, but I didn't create an rule over here, right? So that's why it was giving me an option. So now I'll come back, it will validate the option. Okay, the validation is passed. So what it says is you have set RDP SSH open to the internet. This is only recommended for testing. If you want to change this setting, go back to the basics. So yes, anybody can access my device through internet for these ports. So that's why it is giving me a warning. So as of now, it's fine. So let's create. Okay, so this is like deploying a new device. The same, this is kind of a basic how once you understand this, we can host any applications, host any servers, host any virtual machines, try to group them, give them a security. So from here, we can do all other different things. So this is a notification deployment in progress. This will usually take some time, like good 10 to 15 minutes. Yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions. Any questions? Yeah, sure. All right. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. So we just had an overview of AWS and Azure uh, hosting methods, the dashboards, and also we just checked a few of the certification levels. If you are planning, then that will be well and good. So yes, let me know if you guys have any questions, any technical questions. You can reach out to me, and then we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.